Hey everybody. I got this um, question the other day, so I wanted to answer the question with a video and post it. The question says, I work in B2B sales in the education space, and prospects are typically very formal and don't respond well to humor or pushing them on late stage deals. They use public funds, so the space is very serious, but when they need pushing, my luck is around 50-50. So a few things I would say there. First off, um, definitely curious what people think about this in the comments. Definitely post your thoughts because I'm learning, just like everybody else. And I've actually had a couple prospects just recently kind of get pissed off at me for kind of pushing a little bit too much on certain deals. So I'm learning just like everybody, and it's not a 100% like thing that this is the way you do it and this is going to always work, because there's always going to be different egos and different personalities that might clash, and people might take things that you say the wrong way. But there's things that you can do to kind of offset that and give yourself a better chance to push a little bit in a certain deal to move the deal forward, get it across the finish line, without pissing off your prospect. So one thing is know your buyer, okay, and by that I mean know their personality. So if it's a late stage deal, you've been working the account for a while, you've been working with these stakeholders, you probably at least know their personality a little bit, and if it's the type of person where you can push them a little bit, or if they would not be receptive to that at all, and you should just kind of if anything, don't do that. Um, I would say if there's any, when in doubt, just pick up the phone and call the person. Do not, like, if it's something that you think, ooh, they might, they might piss them off a little bit, or they might find this to be, too aggressive or condescending or anything. Um, when in doubt, call the person up. Don't send like a text message or LinkedIn message or email with just words on the screen. If it's just words on a screen, it's much more likely that they're going to take it the wrong way, and it'll get misinterpreted, and then they'll get pissed off. And then also, by know your buyer, I mean like know the industry that they're in too. So this guy that sent me this question saying he's in the education space. And so I know from selling into the education space previously at a past job, that the way it works, like their fiscal year for the most part, is July to June. And so you have to know that and plan accordingly, plan your pipeline accordingly, and don't try to like push on a deal like to get it closed in January or February if you know that it's probably not going to close until July. And so know things like that, the intricacies of your industry. And then also, if you're following up on a deal, like just don't do it in a sleazy way. So like one example, instead of me just saying to a prospect, hey, do you think we can get this signed um, you know either today or tomorrow? Like instead I might say something along the lines of, like, I might say it but in a more helpful way. So I might say it like, hey, Mr. Prospect, this is a larger deal here. You're looking at 50 or 100 licenses, whatever it might be. um, in order for us on my end internally to align, and allocate the proper, necessary resources internally to better, support this implementation once we do get this signed. Um, you know, I'd like to be able to do that and like sync up with my people internally that are going to do this implementation, to make sure we have the right resources aligned, so that is a smooth implementation. Based on that, when do you think we might be able to get this signed by? That's a much different follow up on a late stage deal that you're trying to get closed. Now I'm on their side. I'm not just some sleazy sales rep. I'm actually giving them a reason why we do need some clarity here on when this might get signed. Also, just continue to always hit on the value. Instead of just saying, hey, and were you able to, sync up with your VP, or were you able to get an update on budget, or when do you think we could get this signed? Like, instead of ask, instead of just having like an ask all the time, don't just have the ask without value attached to it. So, have in your back pocket, just keep reminding them of, okay, what are you going to actually gain? What are you going to gain? What is your future state going to be once you do sign the contract and you do roll this out and you do the implementation? Like, how is this going to be, your future state going to be better than your current state without the product that you're selling now? And just keep reminding them, not in the same, have 3 or 4 different ways that you can say it. That way, if you have to follow up a few different times throughout the course of a deal, you're not saying the same damn thing over and over. And then the last thing that I'll sometimes do to kind of soften my emails, if it's like an email where I'm kind of like, trying to move a deal forward, get it across the finish line, I don't want to seem overly aggressive or pushy. So, I'll use like emojis, or I'll use GIFs in the email. Like smileys or emojis, or silly GIFs, things like that, to try to soften it. Like, one example, instead of me just saying, hey, what can I do to get this across the finish line? I'll say that, but I have this little silly, fun GIF that I'll put where it's like a little pig that's literally like crossing a finish line. So, it's saved on my computer, so I can just put the GIF in there, and I just say, hey, what else? Anything else you need from me to help get this across the finish line? And then there's the little below that is a little silly, funny GIF of a pig. It's a little baby pig like crossing a finish line. The other thing I'll do, if it's an email where it's a little bit more direct or, assertive, trying to get a deal, moving along, I'll purposely, in the sign off at the bottom of the email, I'll put thank you, so I'm saying thank you. And then below that, Jeremy, rather than just me putting Jeremy, which is a little bit more blunt and a direct sign off, just putting your name, with no like sincerely or best regards, things like that. I purposely will say thank you, or thank you very much, or, however you want to kind of say it. But I'm being a little bit more polite with that sign off purposely to soften what came previously in the email, which might be a little bit more assertive or aggressive to try to get the deal moving forward. So hopefully this is helpful for everybody. Thanks for watching. See ya.